Hello, it's Mike from Mike and Melissa's Tab across Texas, and today I come to you from my home. And this video is for all of those who are writers, or who want to write, or those who live with writers or people who want to write, and you just don't understand what's going on with them. So, if I may, take a moment of your time to explain to you this process, at least my process, and how it could be conceived as like kind of a weirdness. So we got to go back a few years. A few years ago, I decided that I wanted to start writing some stuff, and I was semi-successful. I had some things published in some magazines. I had some stories published in some magazines. I have some emails from people who are paying me to write for their online magazines. So I was like, yes, this is great. I have arrived. But short-lived. You find yourself creating only for what you think other people want, and the whole situation isn't as, I don't know, joyous as it should be, or at least how I thought it would be. Now, I don't take away from any of this. This was motivation, and it really helped me and introduced me to a lot of people. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about us people who go down these rabbit holes while others look on in panic, thinking that you have lost your mind. So I'm going to explain what's happened with me. So I was writing a story about a guy named Thomas Watts. Thomas Watts was emotionally scarred, and he was out on a motorcycle taking a little ride, much like Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, yet he goes through 8 emotional states. And in these 8 emotional states, he sort of becomes himself. He finds himself, if you will. Now, that turned into a story, and it's around here someplace. Actually, here's a hunk of it. But it really turned into a little travel log about the state of Texas. And this is available on Amazon. Anyway, so while I was out there just learning about Thomas, I happened upon an antique store, or more of a junk store. And in that junk store, I found this. It was a souvenir photo, vintage World War II, from a place called Tikal Cocktail Lounge in San Francisco. And at this point, I'm so far into this, I even now have an actual cocktail napkin from Tikal. And I also have the Colliers that they would be reading while that photo was taken. It's crazy. So I come home with this photo, just fascinated with it for some reason. There's no names or anything on it. It's just there's a date on the back, location, and the couple. And for whatever reason, I can't get the photo out of my mind, and it becomes a story. And this story was published in a little quarterly magazine, a fictional story about a bartender in a bar during World War II. It is what it is. It was published. I got a few copies of it, and I went on with my life. But I never could shake that image. So I continued to read about the clubs in San Francisco and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, one day, I stumble upon on a website more photos of the girl in the photo. Now, I know her name now, and I won't use her name on the YouTube because she's no longer, she is deceased, but there is family out there. But there's my original photo, and here's another photo of her. Along with that, I found copies of her, not copies, I found photos of her scrapbook, which has everything from not airplane tickets, but train tickets to dates to all kinds of great stuff. So, oh my gosh, you can imagine a fire that someone poured jet fuel on this fire, and it was off. So if you are around someone who is in this current state of story creation, and I'm about 3 years into it, and you're like, well, where's that? You know, what's going on? It's a mess. And this is just a little bit of all the stuff. I have actual yearbooks now of the actual, I won't say your name. I've found those. And then all of that coupled with the story that you create, which isn't the story of the inspiration, you develop characters. Now, the crazy thing about this is these characters become so real in your mind that they start reacting to situations in ways that you would not have given them. And again, now y'all are thinking, this guy's crazy. Well, anyway, so I've got 4 or 5 basic or primary characters in my story, and they live in my head and they go around in my head, and each day they are put into a different situation, and sometimes I'm shocked by how they will react to those situations, and their actions then could really rewrite something that I thought would have previously happened. I guess it's like learning any person. Just you meet them, and 2 or 3, 4 years later, you could find out something about them, especially a secret that would not have been apparent in that initial meeting. But the reason I wanted to shoot this video was, I guess, just to talk to somebody about this craziness that will happen when you decide to create story and character arcs, but how exciting it can be to create a reality that, in my opinion, is so much more pleasant and positive than anything that they will feed us on the television. Anyway, go out there, create a story, get inspired, find your random picture, and love. Bye.